AFC teams. Dan, what is your don't be surprised for Cincinnati?
Don't be surprised if they end up back in the AFC Championship game. This team has had 2 significant down years in which they finished 9-8. If that's your down year, you got something good going on. If the defense is any better at all and this offense operates like it did last year, this becomes a very dangerous team loaded with key players who know how to win playoff games.
D-Wood, their defense had to be stunningly bad for this team to miss the playoffs last year. Joe Burrow had them in the playoff chase on the final Sunday of the season, despite their defense being that bad. Would you be surprised if they made a deep playoff run this year?
I would be a little surprised. I think they got to take a big step forward defensively. Those younger guys, they're going to have what Philadelphia did with those young guys. For Philadelphia, those young guys need to develop in order for the Cincinnati Bengals to be like in the AFC Championship.
If the Bengals make the AFC Championship game, Al Golden, who's the new defensive coordinator, should be talked about the same way we talked about Vic Fangio from Philly last year. He would be the assistant coach of the year in the NFL. This defense was terrible last year. They've looked equally as terrible in the preseason. And while I love the offense and Joe, for them to make the title game, the AFC Championship game, would be a ridiculous turnaround defensively.
So our PR department asks us all to make predictions for the season, and one of them is your MVP, and I picked Joe Burrow for sort of exactly the reason you're describing. He had an MVP caliber. His numbers were better than any quarterbacks in the league last year. So to your point, the defense doesn't have to be that much better.
20.
And if they do, I think the division...
Right? Seriously.
I don't know.
It's just wild to think about.
I mean, the offense is that good.
Yeah.
They're that good, and I think they're going to get better. And Burrow is that level of good. And I think if they wind up winning 10 or 11 games because he winds up throwing for something that looks like 5,000 yards, I think he's a sneaky, interesting MVP pick.
Absolutely, and they become a dangerous playoff team because he has led them to playoff victories with, not the same exact cast, but a lot of these same guys, the receivers obviously that they kept. So yeah, I think again, everything went wrong the last couple of years. They still finished over 500.
The crazy thing is, if the defense doesn't improve at a decent rate, they won't get in. That'll be 3 straight years of him not in the playoffs. That doesn't happen with elite, great, Hall of Fame bound quarterbacks.
It shouldn't happen.
Correct.
I mean, it shouldn't happen. 2 years ago, he got hurt. Last year, the defense was just ridiculously bad. We'll see. They can't start slow again. They've made they have one of their big problems is they're 1-11 in weeks 1 and 2 in the last 6 seasons. It's gonna be an interesting game. They open with Flacco and the Browns on Sunday. The Browns have always played them tough.
Always. That's not a give-me game for Cincinnati.
So that's an interesting one. So
I would be surprised if the Browns made the AFC Championship.
that would be a big surprise. So Dan is giving us all the ones that we'd be surprised with. Let's go to our next team here. And the next team is the Indianapolis Colts. Give us a little something we should be thinking about them, Grob.
Don't be surprised if they win the AFC South. Look, they finished 2 games behind Houston last year. The year before, they missed by 1 game, and they had that game at the end of the season. If they had beaten Houston, their division champ. They're not that far behind. Defense is pretty good. If Daniel Jones can play like he played for the Giants a couple years back when he got that big contract, last time he was in a contract year, then I think they're a contender.
See, here's the thing. We are, and I raise my hand, we are professional overreactors. And by that, I mean all of us, the world now. We overreact to everything. So Daniel Jones is now, when people think of him, they think he's the worst quarterback of all. He's nowhere near that. He's an average NFL quarterback when he's healthy. And if the Colts have average quarterback play, that might be the best team in that division, no?
I'm still Houston Texans. I understand the vantage point and if Daniel's average, but Houston with that defense, Houston could have the best secondary in football. They could have a top 3 to 5 defense in all football. C.J. Stroud, still C.J. Stroud. The offensive line in Houston has to settle in. So I still think they're the favorite, but I don't hate the Indy thought. My thing with Indy is there's tons of people to throw the football to. All you need is a very boring pedestrian point guard. I don't know if Daniel can be that consistently, but there's a lot of guys, Tyler Warren being one of them, to get the ball to.
Indy has personnel, serious personnel on both sides of the ball. If they can get a quarterback to stabilize that team, that's been their problem.
Yeah.
They haven't had anyone at the quarterback position to stabilize that team. Yes, I could see them winning the AFC South.
I found the numbers that we had up on the screen a moment ago, our analytics. interesting. Our analytics department would be surprised.
Yes.
And if the Colts win the South, they have them picked third in the division behind Jacksonville, who a lot of people are questioning, so we'll wind up seeing. Okay, let me give you one more here, and this one involves the Miami Dolphins.
Don't be surprised if they're wild card contenders. This is a team that, there's no expectations on them this year, whereas a year ago we thought maybe they were ready to ascend. They started 2-6 last year, but then they recovered. They won 6 of their next 8 and finished respectably. So they did a lot of work this offseason trying to change, the culture there, kind of move some guys out, bring in some guys they thought would help with that. When Tua Tagovailoa has been healthy, they've been a team that wins more games than we give them credit for.
What feel do you have right now, D. Wood, for Miami?
I don't have good vibes from Miami.
Yeah, that's the
I
problem.
don't. Like, I look at a team, you talked about them changing over personnel. Like, 4 of their captains from last year, no longer on the team.
Right.
Jalen Ramsey, gone. Like, the quarterback and star wide receiver, they're not in the greatest of places. So it just seems like there's bad mojo in Miami right now. That's just the way I look at it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were wild card contenders. We know how good the offense is when Tua is healthy, but at the same breath, I wouldn't be surprised if they went 7-10.
Yeah.
It's just is the offense going to be physical enough when they're demanded to be physical? Is Tua going to stay healthy enough? Has the defense, and I actually thought the defense under Anthony Weaver, their defense coordinator, started to play better last year, but with all those pieces that have kind of been picked away, are they going to be good enough? And so is the noise coming off at the end of last season and some of the conversation, Tyreek Hill, is that quieted down a little bit?
Well, that's my
that's the
question.
question.
Does the league expect Tyreek Hill maybe to get traded still?
I mean, look, if they fall out of it, he'll be a name we're talking about in October, at the trade deadline, I think. But no, I think they plan to go forward with it. The guys they moved on from, they moved on from by choice, more or less. And so I think you're seeing them kind of reset. When Mike McDaniel talked to his team this offseason, he talked about the expectations factor. We don't have them anymore. Like, people outside this building do not. So that gives us the opportunity to focus on the work we're doing and build it back up. I think they'll be good up front on defense. On the back end's a little shaky because of all the injuries they've had back there, but Minkah Fitzpatrick coming back, I think, stabilizes some stuff. And everybody you talk to in that building always ends the conversation with the same thing. It's just, we just got to keep the quarterback healthy.
Yes, but they also have to start well.
Yeah.
Because I'm not naive to the fact of how the season ended and then Reek's comments at the end of the year. If that doesn't start well, does that start to swell up a little bit more? And, does he become a little bit more of the conversation around trade talks, to your point?
It's an interesting division. I mean, Buffalo clearly the class of the AFC East. Will another team step forward and give them a run? Could that team be Miami? Speaking of the AFC East, Bill Belichick owned that division for 2 decades. Tonight, you will see him coaching North Carolina. We've got his debut, Carolina versus TCU. Fascinating opening weekend game. You will see it tonight, 8 Eastern on ESPN and the all-new ESPN app. Coming up, an unbelievable opening college weekend, including the